Hey kids, today we're working with a Lawn Chief. It's a 22-inch cut walk-behind lawnmower. This is powered by a 5 horsepower Briggs Stratton motor. What we're going to do is service it. This happened to be a free lawnmower with the cardboard sign that said free, and I'm going to try to get it running. You may be doing the same thing with your personal lawnmower. So this is a good project for everybody to watch. The first thing I'm going to do to it is I'm going to clean out that spark plug. I did test it for compression by pulling on it. No compression meter on it at all. And I checked the spark plug with my trusty dusty spark plug tester. And the way you do that is you leave your spark plug in the motor tight as it is and plug this into your spark plug wire. And now you pull on it, and this will have a light on it that will light up. If you can't see it from where you're pulling, the best thing to do is to turn off your lights in your shop, and this thing will put out some light so you'll tell if it's producing the current that it should be. So yep, the spark plug is good on this. So what we're going to do now is clean it. By doing that, I need a 13/16. You can use an open end box end wrench or a socket. Most people prefer a socket. Once you break it, you should screw out by hand. And here is your spark plug. What we want to do is clean the top of this spark plug. And in between, there's a gap. We're going to clean that especially and shine it up. And I'm doing that with some coarse sandpaper. You can do it with an emery board if you do your nails. It works. And then you just blow out the dust. You can spray it out with some kind of cleaner if you prefer. I prefer not to. I just blow it out. Put it right back in. You can use your air compressor if you want. When you tighten up your spark plug or change your spark plug, just snug it so it's really tight. Don't over crank it and strip out that cylinder head, because then you'll have to do some work to it to get it to take a spark plug, and we don't want to get into that. Alright, so the next thing to do is take off this air box. So let's turn the mower a little bit. And there's a single screw right here that takes off that cover, and that's where we're going to find the air box, the air filter. And I'm just using a screw gun to speed up the process here a little bit. That screw will stay with it. It has a washer type head. Okay, so this air filter is not looking too promising. Look how dirty that is. So I would recommend not to just clean it. I would replace it. If yours isn't this bad, you can blow it out with your air compressor and get it cleaned that way. Our next attempt to clean this out, this air box, doesn't look too bad. There are 3 bolt heads on there. They're the same size as that bolt head that we just took off. So I am just speeding up again the process with my screw gun. For video, well, I do it in real life too. I'll use a screw gun too. And then I got a bowl that I can set things in. You can set them right down on the housing of this lawnmower too. I just try not to do that. I just keep everything neat. So there on the back is a rubber hose that's attached to this. That's that vent to your engine. So you just pop that off. It goes right onto here. So see it right here? This is that hose. It just comes on and off. Just very simple. We got to clean this. We'll set that in the safe spot. Check your gasket is right here on this. We're going to remove that if we're going to do any spraying to the carburetor. So our next trick here is to take off this fuel line. I'm going to use my gas line crimper and a pair of just regular pliers. Let's get that. This has, on this mower, has those press-on hose clamps. I get that about midway, out of the way. Now I'm going to clamp off the gas line with my gas line crimpers, you can use vice grips if that's all you have, and pop it off. And I'm going to stick it up in a spot underneath the gas tank so it's out of my way, so it doesn't mess with me here. Okay, so there's 2 bolts on this carburetor. We got to take those off. Those are a size 10. I'm going to use my 1/4-inch drive socket wrench to pop those off. My head is in your way, I know. If we can zoom in a little bit here, see what I'm doing. Take that one almost all the way out. So let's see what we can zoom in. Help you guys see this a little bit better. Put this down. Let's turn on some light here. Let's see if we can get some light going. See in here, on top of this, there's 2 bolts that I'm undoing right now. See that one right in there? Okay. So now I'm just going to unhook and unscrew it with my driver. That one looks like it's all the way out. Capture everything with my hand. Take the bolts out before you lose them. Like I say, if they fall on the deck, it's okay. Now there's a throttle linkage that just has like a S to it. You just gotta wiggle your way out. It's easy to remember where it is, because this one has like a grommet pressed in it. So, there we go. Our carburetor on the inside doesn't look too bad. It looks actually pretty clean. We're going to clean out the jets. This sediment bowl is filled with gasoline. So you're going to want to capture that gas instead of spewing it all over. And what I normally do is just dip it right down. You can see it pouring right out. See it pouring? Can you see that? No, I got it tipped down. But I'm pouring the gas out, you can hear it, right into a jug that captures gas. So I know that this gas is clean. I already flushed the tank once. If you have ethanol-free gas, you should be safe. But if it's not ethanol-free, I would highly recommend that you change your gas. If it's been setting all winter long, you didn't put any stable in it, I would change your gas too. Alright, so now I'm just going to set my jug on the floor and just set that so you can see. On the bottom of this sediment bowl is a 1/2-inch bolt head. We are going to have to take that off and drain out even more gas, whatever's residual left in there. To do that, you're going to use a 1/2-inch socket wrench. Just because it's indented in the bottom of this sediment bowl, so you can't really put a wrench on it without stripping the head. You can try with a box end wrench, but it's really hard to do. So socket wrench is the preferred method. And now I got some gas dripping back into this tank. You can probably hear it. I'm not going to show you that, but basically, well, maybe I can, because I'm dripping it right into that funnel. But I just aim over my tank and I loosen up this sediment bowl enough to get any of that residual gas out. So now I'm taking off that nut, and we're going to take apart this sediment bowl, take it right off the carburetor, and we're going to put it right down on my workbench. And I'm going to have to pause, and we're going to resume activity on my workbench. I think I can find my clicker. So here we take this brass nut, And it's a special nut. So as we take it out, there is a gasketed washer that you got to keep track of. You don't want to rip it. You don't want to destroy it. So let's just take it out. And let's take a look at that nut right there. You're going to see a hole in the center of it. If you look on the side, there's a hole there too. We need to clean that out. So we're going to set that aside. And I'm just going to wipe any other debris that I see on the outside of this sediment bowl. Is looking pretty clean. I did wipe it before I took it off there a little bit. But look at that sediment bowl. Boy, don't that look really clean in there. Gasket here looks good. This is the float mechanism. It seems to be working properly. We don't know if there's any holes in it that it's holding it down and not working properly. But if you take a look, when I do this, it goes up and down just as nice as can be. So my guess is that it's fine. I am taking a pair of tweezers. There's a pin right here. We're going to take that pin out. Here we go. I'm going to push it one way. It can go either way and capture that pin. I'm going to wipe that off. And now we're going to take the float mechanism straight out. We're going to take that straight out. And along with it is a plunger that is your gas stop. It's made out of stainless steel. And I'm going to make it drop on the ground right here. See that? So we're going to take a look at this plunger just so you can recognize what it does. That pinpoint right there is what stops the gas from flowing. This is your inlet to your carburetor that fills that sediment bowl, and right there is a little hole inside it. This will stop the gas or make it open up when that float lifts or rises or closes, one way or the other. So I'm not going to use any carburetor spray. If I was going to, I would try to take this gasket off. But right now, it's in there pretty well. I wouldn't mess with it. I don't want to tear it, and I have no spares. So I'm trying to show you how to service it without any cost. So here we go. We're going to take our gas cleaner. Now you can use like a bread wrap. Those it's paper on it and has metal wire inside it. That wire is really good for cleaning these out. So I am cleaning this port out right now, and I can feel it. I'm cleaning this one out. I'm going to run a brush through it too. But this is just reaming it out, making sure everything is clean. So if I look through here, you can see that wire coming through. Let's see if you can see if I got it lit up enough. See if I pull this light over. So let's put the brush through it so you can see the brush. How about that? See that brush coming through? Can't tell if you can see it or not. I'm hoping you can. So I'm reaming it out. I'm going to do both ports. This one will stop, of course. And this one here, just brush it through. And I'm going to go through this. This is our gas inlet. You can hear it getting clean. It is definitely getting clean. Alright, so everything else is looking good. So you can take an air nozzle and blow everything, but I'm very confident that everything here is clean. Now we're just going to button it right back up together now. We're going to make sure there's no dirt or debris on this. We're going to put our plunger back into place. So this is the way that it goes. Follow my leads. So it's going to go right back in just like we took it out. And our plunger is facing this way right now. And we go, no, don't do that. Let's do it again. See, no, we're no editing here. We're just going to do it just like you're doing it. If you fall into that same problem, just pick it up and do it again. Here we go. Let's pick up the pen. I'm going to try to do it with my hands. This is a little bit tricky. You got to line it up. It's a little squishy. Just work it until it finds that hole. It takes me sometimes a few tries. And let's make sure one end isn't beveled more than the other. No, it's going to be difficult. Let's do it this way. Sometimes you just gotta find the way it goes easiest. The path of least resistance. There we go. And you get it so they're even on both sides, okay? Don't push one way or the other. Just even on both sides. And make sure she's springing into action like she does. We're going to put our sediment bowl in. I just blow it out. It looks very clean though. We're good. Make sure that's lined up. Now we're going to put our bolt back in. Before we do that, let's just check the ports on this. I'm going to take off my gasketed washer, and I'm going to ream it out. The ports, I'm going to find the smallest cleaner that I can find. And see how it goes all the way through there? Let's just clean it up. Make sure she's got good flow. There we go. Okay, now we're going to put on our gasketed washer. And now we're going to put on this bolt back into place. And I'm going to just hand tighten it just because I want gas to show. I want to see if gas is actually coming through now into this sediment bowl. So I'm expecting it to drip a little bit once I hook on my gas line and turn it on. Okay. Alright, so here we go. We're going to hit pause and get into another position. Okay, so now we're going to put the whole carburetor back on to the lawnmower. The first thing that we're going to do is get that throttle linkage lined up and fish it in to this carburetor. And there, it's that simple. And now we are going to get a bolt started in the carburetor to attach it back to the engine. So I just find the easiest one. I'm trying not to block you as I do this. And I guess I'm going to have to block you. Sorry. Get it started so I can get the other one in place. Get that second one in place and started. Sorry for blocking you. Okay, so now we get them. And when we get them tightened, we don't want to over tighten and strip anything. So snug is really the way that you want it. And you don't, snug, I mean, you want it firm so it doesn't vibrate off the mower. But you don't want to have to Healy coil anything or tap and die anything. Is snug. And so a 1/4 inch wrench is really the preferred way to do that in my book, because you can't really over tighten it. So now I'm putting my gas line back onto that carburetor where I got it. I'm going to undo my clamp. I'm going to take my regular household pliers, grab a hold of this hose clamp, put it back into place where I got it, and that'll keep everything from leaking. Okay, so now I got my gas line on. This is where I want to test it. So this is where I play with this 1/2-inch bolt on the bottom of the sediment bowl. If you don't do this, you could get an air pocket and you can have a problem. You won't get any gas in that sediment bowl, so you're not going to, your engine won't run. So now I just loosen it until I get a drip. There it is. See it drip? Okay. So now I know that gas is making it from the tank into the sediment bowl. And now I snug that up, but don't over tighten it. Just really snug. Okay, now I got some gas on my hand. I'm going to wipe it off. Even though I got gloves, we don't need to get gas all over everything else, right? And so I just tap it dry, make sure everything's nice and clean. No fires are going to be started in my garage. So the next trick is put our air cleaner back in place. Let's wipe it down here. I'm just taking a paper towel, shop towel, and cleaning out any dirt. You can blow it out with your air compressor if you prefer. I usually do. I'm just trying to save time on the video. Now my goal is to hook this hose back into the vent. And it's a little bit tricky, but once you get it in, you can feel it. Sometimes you want to put it on the engine part first. There we go. That's much easier. Okay, so now we're going to get these bolts started for the air cleaner. And I like to do this one here first, just because I can see it. I can see it plain as day. We can notice. Okay, good. Now we just put the next one in place. Do one at a time. These are not, this doesn't have a magnet tip on it, so I just do one at a time. Snug it. Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy with it. There we go. Okay. And now I am pretending that I cleaned the air filter. And now we're just going to put it back in place for now. I do want to test it, but I don't have a new filter for it. So we're going to run it just like it is. I don't recommend it for you guys. Okay. So let's make sure all of our parts and tools are off it. Okay, now I'm going to pause. We're going to get it in position and try to start it. Okay, kids, so here we are. We're going to hopefully start it without pulling our arm off. And this is unedited, well, you know, from moving camera to camera. But anyhow, we got the gas flowing into that sediment bowl. We know it made it that far. So if that carburetor is good, it should fire. We know the spark is there. We know it has compression. Alright, couple of safety tips. And it's very important to realize that if this does start, that it can suck up anything that's around it. So make sure there's no lead cords or hoses or anything that it can suck up, and even a carpet, a floor mat or anything like that, it'll suck it up. So let's be safe. Make sure everything is free from the bottom of it. Secondly, it's noisy, so have some hearing protection. Thirdly, if you notice, I have my window open now because I want to make sure it's properly ventilated and it's still cold out. It is spring, but it's still cold. So here we go. We're going to give her a test out. Hopefully my arm won't have to do a lot of work. Here we go, people. Fire in the hole, people. Fire in the hole. Hopefully. Wow, that's impressive actually. 4 pulls and it's running. Just enough to get the gas flowing through that carburetor to spray up into that intake. So it's really nice that everything works on it. And you saw me play with that throttle, make sure she went down and up fine. Everything's good. Again, safety first. Always wear your hearing protection. Don't have any debris that's going to come flying out of that machine as you run it in your shop. And proper ventilation. Now go get some fresh air. If you like these videos, watch the rest of them that I have. I'm going to have more coming. Feel free to subscribe. No cost to you. And enjoy them. And if you like them, share them with other people too. Appreciate your participation. Be safe.